Good morning, everybody. Lucky Wednesday morning. We have the pleasure of Jessica Johnson from the Self-Storage Business or Self-Storage Owners Alliance joining us this morning. Jessica wanted to come on and talk a little bit about something that she's pretty passionate about, which is reputation management for self-storage. Really good information. So Jessica, I'll let you take it away. Introduce yourself, kind of a little bit about the SBOA, and let's take it for the reputation management.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. Just to give everybody some background. Hey, Alana. I was just with Alana last week in Arizona. So the SBOA was born out of our sister company, Storage Pros Management, that started about 23 years ago, roughly. Storage Pros Management, we had a portfolio of 150 locations across 8 states. At the end of 2019, we sold the very last asset within that portfolio. Typically every year, excuse me, we were in the top 100 operators list through ISS, and we performed really, really well. We 9x'd our investors' money when we sold. We bought the bulk of that portfolio after the 08-09 recession. I think between 09 and 2012, we bought about 80 properties. So we went into heavy acquisition mode. The way we were able to do that, we were self-managed at one point, and there's nothing wrong with self-management. I, in fact, encourage self-management if you're going to be in this. But there comes a point where I think to grow to scale, you need to employ third-party management. So we did. We pushed all of our management over to CubeSmart, which is a national REIT. They did us really well in the long run. And again, we sold at the end of 2019. Along comes COVID. We're like, okay, great. We sold at the perfect time because we didn't know what was going to happen with COVID. And lo and behold, COVID produces some of the best results historically in self-storage. So I've had many conversations with my group saying it's a real crappy time not to be a self-storage owner and operator. But we probably will build another portfolio here in Q3, Q4 of this year. I'm not sure what type of size we're looking at this point. Might do it a little bit more passively than actively at this point. But then back in 08 and 09, we created the Storage Business Owners Alliance. We were not able to get good pricing through vendors because we didn't have economies of scale. We weren't a very large group back then. So we went to them and said, if we started this alliance similar to a trade association, but we're not a trade association because we're not 501c, we are a for-profit company, and we're not a co-op. We're not structured like a co-op. So we're just basically like a collective of owners and operators that can come together when they're smaller to mid-size and get economies of scale and some buying power through some of the vendors that we know, like, and trust in the space that we've used. Alana is one of them. She's on here, Storage Auctions. We're partnered with a bunch of different ones out there. And even the ones we're not partnered with, like we're not partnered with Storage Pug, but we're really huge proponents of Storage Pug and Alex's group. We believe in what they do over there. So we always try to recommend, who we know in the space that will suit your needs well. And they do a fantastic job on websites and conversions. If you need people converted, I would highly suggest talking to the Pug team. But anyway, that's kind of a background of Storage Pros and the SBOA. And just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit today about online reviews and business listings. Has everyone here that owns a facility, at least at this point, gone into Google Business Profile and claimed any of their other listings, like their Bing or Yelp? Now we even have Apple Business Connect. Anyone out there want to talk on that for a minute? Anthony, have you guys done that at all for your properties?
I know we've done it for our properties and stuff like that. I know that when we're looking to purchase properties, that's kind of another clue that we look forward to as well, is some of the mom and pops do not do that. So that's kind of a bigger clue of, what's going on with them. Gives us a good insight of kind of what they're doing. They're so used to that small operations that it's not important to them, but also gives us a clue like, hey, how can we, improve the property, improve the visibility, as well as improve improve how many, just the visibility and stuff of it. So
Yeah. So I mean, there's lots of listing services where you can go and claim your listing service. You can use services out there like reputation.com. Bird Eye is one of them. The SBOA now has reputation management as well. But I want to just start with like the business listings and how critical it is to make sure that your business listings, no matter where they are listed, whether it's, like I said, on Google, Yelp, Bing, etc., that they are all consistent. And what I mean by that, maybe you're on 123 Apple Street, and on Google Street is abbreviated as T, but then on Yelp it's spelled out all the way to street. Inconsistencies within the listing can cause harm. So if you're not employing a professional service to go out there and claim all those listings for you, because one of the tips that we offer as people are building this out, go into a Word document, type your information one time, your full business name, your full street address, the city, state, zip code, your phone number, your website, get that all typed out one time, save that document, and as you're building it on the different listing sites, just do a simple copy and paste. That way it alleviates the human error and remembering, did I write street out? Did I abbreviate street, etc. The days of printed business listings, like going to the Yellow Pages, are probably at a minimum now. Everything's being done digitally. So all of this has critical components to the success of your ranking on Google. And when they're going to this is how they're going to find you, right? I mean, you want links on everything that you have out there to get them to your end result, your website or Google. Even with Google business listings, I mean, you're able to post, and we do suggest that you post actively through Google Business Profile at least once a week, is what we are suggesting. That way, you're building some credibility there. You're posting. You can list your units there. You can list your pricing there. I think there's a new self-service option there that Melissa over at Storage Asset Management is trying to tap into and utilize, where you can go in and do self-service. And we've got a lot of self-service going on in the self-storage industry now, because people are able to rent online, reserve online, do it through sometimes SMS text options, depending on what type of platform people have built. So you definitely want to make sure the listings are all consistent. It's just going to help better position and market your brand. Definitely enhances the SEO, which is a critical piece. Don't want to be buried on page 2 of Google. We want to do everything we can to get onto that first page of Google. Obviously, all the top listings that you see are those paid advertised listings, and then you would rank and fall underneath when people are looking for self-storage, in Jacksonville, Florida, or wherever it is. And then, most people are going to their phone to look for you. Sometimes they're even looking through their maps options to figure out what's closest to them. And as we know with storage, obviously it's very demand based and it's very location based. So definitely wanting to make sure your listings are out there and they're digital and that they are correct. These numbers are kind of outdated, but I will share them with you. This is February 2022. There's at least 92% of the total US population is active on the internet. So I mean, that's a huge percentage of people that are looking for information on the internet. So you want to have it there. You probably see a lot of listings and a lot of names in self-storage. Jim Mooney and I always joke about this. It's like AA self-storage, AAA self-storage, quadruple A self-storage. Everybody had those A names because they wanted to be in the A listing in the Yellow Pages. We don't necessarily need to do that anymore, as long as we have, good internet presence and good responsive websites. And then out of that population number, 62% of the total population is active on social media. So you can see by these numbers, it's foolish not to have a solid online presence. And that's all online and listings and reputation management is really making sure that you are out there and that you are visible. Um, and you know, there's so many listing sites that you can actually be out there on. There's some that are specific, you know, Yelp, I think, kind of goes more towards the restaurants, but we see self-storage listed there. You know, Angie's List is usually used for people that are looking for, you know, plumbers, electricians, etc. We recommend at least being out there, you know, on Google, Facebook, Bing, Yelp, to get started. So anybody have any questions so far about business listings? Anyone out there doing this, need assistance doing this?
Jessica, do you have like a standard list of places to you would recommend, like a, you know, like a written out list of places, you know, like here's where like the top 5 where you should or you have to be on there?
Yeah, we do. And then we also have some suggestions of how to enhance it, right? So
Mhm.
visual, meaning photos, obviously, are going to help the most. Any type of videos that you may have as well. I think the last stat that I read is visual content receives like 416% more interactions than just static content. So definitely getting or text content, I should say. So making your posts interactive, making them have good solid pictures. Alana and I've joked about this before. When Alana goes out and does her visits, she'll check the Google business listing. And there's been some photos previously that have deterred Alana and that have deterred me as well from making a stop and visit to a self-storage facility based on the photos that they have. But it looks grim. It looks like it's somewhere where you might end up locked in a unit for the rest of your life. So we definitely want to make sure that the photos are good. And while I do encourage the use of stock imagery in some cases, this is an instance where I will not recommend that. Please make sure the imagery, like Anthony, you've got the background behind you. It's probably stock imagery. It's not one of your facilities, or maybe it is one of your facilities. I don't know. Um, but definitely make sure that it's of your facility, that it is clear, that it's on a nice sunny day, that there's not trash, you know, the curb appeal and everything of the property looks good. Definitely want to have nice enhanced photos. Storage Hub has some great articles on how to optimize your Google business profile. I think they have a really decent ebook. Is that right, Alex? Alex gave a thumbs up. And Tommy is forever and ever talking about this topic. I think he gets asked to talk about this topic a lot. So if you use me as a resource, or you can go ask Tommy and Alex over at Storage Book. Thanks, Alex. That's awesome. That's a really good playbook that gives you the step-by-step on how to optimize that Google business profile. And I haven't looked into it for Apple Business Connect, but what I've looked at preliminary, they're very, very similar. So I think you have to go through the same exact process like you do with Google Business Profile. They're going to want to send you a postcard. You have to have a mailbox or address of some sort that they can verify to get that process started. I think Apple Business Connect does as well. So yeah, we can send out a list of the recommended places to be. And then obviously the recommended steps. And again, Alex's ebook there, it's a great one to utilize. So
I had a question. Michelle put in a question there. Is there any other way to verify a Google listing other than postcard?
we've always done it through postcard because we've been fortunate enough where we've had a mailbox or an office at the facility. Alex, do you know? I've never encountered this, so I've not had to do it.
I was finding the help article. There is not everybody can zip tie a plastic mailbox to a chain link fence and get that postcard, but I've seen people do it.
We can try.
Video video verification tends to be the most commonly used backup source. Occasionally, rarely, they'll use phone calls or text. That's very rare. In a perfect world, you just get to upload a video and it proves that you're on site, all that fun stuff. Recently, they have been requesting you set up a time to be live at your property, and they can, tell where you are and that everything's good. So a few different routes for it if you don't have a postcard. They do get progressively more difficult.
They have. They definitely have, because we're in the process right now of an appeal with Google Business Profile because since we don't have facilities anymore, but we still have the Storage Business Owners Alliance business, we moved into an office space in Birmingham, Michigan. And because we don't have like a marquee sign or anything that says Storage Business Owners Alliance, because it's under my partner's name, Ian Bernstein, and some of his other businesses like Coach Capital, now they're giving us trouble because I can't verify like that address is tied to the Storage Business Owners Alliance LLC. So we're fighting that right now. And listen, if you ever have to get into an appeal with Facebook or Google, my prayers are with you because it's a bear. We've had to go through some appeals with Facebook advertising before, which is insane. I'm like, I'm trying to give you guys my money and you don't want to take it. You're putting me through the ringer to put out a simple advertisement, but it happens. Also have seen it happen, and this is off topic, but I do like to bring this up, where a very large portfolio that I know ran a contest on Facebook. So they're a third-party management group. So they have like a mother page, a parent page, and then all the children pages, the subsidiary pages, which are the location pages, right? And they all kind of tie an umbrella under that main page. Well, because it went against Facebook community standards, Facebook shut all the pages down, which was in excess of like 500 pages because they manage over 500 locations. So that was quite the appeal process for that particular group to have to go through. Don't recommend it. Read up on this community guidelines. Again, this is a sophisticated group. They've read on the guidelines and there was still something that Facebook flagged. It's just one of those, I'll say necessary beasts of big tech and big tech companies. They're gatekeepers, they guard, they rule. We have to abide by their standards and sometimes we have to pivot and unfortunately go through these processes, which are not fun. So, but let's get into reputation management a little bit. Is everyone on here having someone within their group go on and review the reviews that are coming in, whether they're from Google, Facebook? Are they responding to the reviews? How are they responding? What is your course of action for a negative review? Anyone want to touch on those? And then we can talk about, I like to have this interactive so we can talk as a group versus me being the talking head over here and telling you the things you should and shouldn't do. Anyone doing that? Anyone have staff that's looking at these reviews and responding?
We do. Imagine how many people's stuff I sell and how angry they are and leave me reviews. But we do try to respond to all the reviews and try to take it offline. I'm so sorry you feel this way. I'd love to communicate with you more about this. Please call me at or send me an email at. And we try to resolve it with them. And then we ask for them to respond back that the issue has been resolved so that other people coming to our site can see that we do care when you do leave a review, and we will respond and have it resolved if we can. I just dealt with one this morning. So
yeah. And I've heard of other owner operators that are trying to incentivize for reviews, giving like a $5 Starbucks gift card for that review. Would not suggest doing that. Just ask for the review. There's different ways, everybody's like, well, how do I get reviews? I mean, it's simple. You ask, you have to make this part of your staff's training process, and you want to get them in for the review as quick as possible after they've had that good experience, after they've moved in, I'll give you the example. I rent here locally with Extra Space. Why? Because it was the closest and cheapest. Not necessarily because it's a REIT and they messed up my process, my rental process in the process. So even the REITs can sometimes get it wrong. Just want to let you all know that. But I will tell you one thing that they did great on the review side is about 2 days after I had signed my lease, they had figured by then that I had probably moved in. And I was now getting SMS text as well as email notifications reminding me, like, if you had a great experience, please leave us a review. So that's a really good time to react. A lot of this can be set up through the website or the PMS system to automatically trigger it. You can get an SMS system to trigger those text messages. You can have QR codes available at your facility for them to scan and go directly to those review sources where they can leave those reviews. But the quickest way to get one is to ask. You can have them ask on site, or you can ask them as part of the follow-up process, as a thank you for moving in. Please leave us your feedback on, what you thought of your experience.
One thing I've seen, Jessica, just a quick thing on yours. I just had a location that I visited where they were incentivizing their employees for the review, and the employees were like, hey, we're running a company contest. Can you help me win and leave a review and mention my name? And that seemed to work better because you can't incentivize your tenant.
Yeah, don't incentivize the tenant, but I mean, definitely building this into a bonus structure for your management team is something you should absolutely do. And if it's not built into like a set bonus structure, like Alana was saying, run different, monthly contests, monthly sales contests. You could do contest on retail sales. You could do contest on, reviews. It's a great opportunity to create some synergy and some excitement and competition within your staffing to get those reviews. We definitely, when we go look at reviews, we want to see a couple hundred reviews. Obviously, it shows some validity there. If there's 10 and you have 5 stars, some people might think, some of those are false reviews, or you came in and asked your friends and family to do those reviews for you versus actual, real people doing those reviews. But if you're using a system, a reputation management system like reputation.com, or even if you came in and used ours, the cool thing is like we pull all of that data and then we pull all of the sentiments, whether they're positive sentiments or negative sentiments. And you also have to sometimes even look into the negative sentiments, because it could just be the way that people structured how they wrote the review and the way that the systems and the artificial intelligence are pulling it. But it can give you some really good indicators of what you're doing well. Cleanliness, if that word keeps popping up in your sentiments, or priced well, nice staff, friendly staff, etc. Those are things that you obviously can reward your staff on and continue to put into your training programs. And then the negative sentiments, it says dirty, staff was rude, things like that. These are all things for like future training opportunities for you to look at. But most of these systems, like I said, reputation.com and everything, they're going to pull and bundle all of that for you. They will even respond to the reviews for you, and will pull some really good reporting for you. So while it seems like it's a pretty daunting task, I mean, you're not getting flooded daily with, hundreds and thousands of reviews. I think it's totally manageable if you have someone on staff to manage it. However, if you get to a portfolio size like we were of 150, and you figure, let's say I've got 5 reviews coming in every day for 150 locations, I probably would want to go employ a service to handle this for me, and then just report back the metrics to see where our good attributes are, what we're doing well, what we are, need to be focused on, for anything that it seems to be. And you can see patterns within these reviews too, right? If somebody keeps mentioning rude staff, you can literally go in and look at the time that they came in and did their lease signing and everything, and you can figure out who that particular staff member is. Again, it's an opportunity to go back and train. But we want you to respond immediately to those reviews. It's just like anything, like with social media, I teach people on this too. If you have a very inactive Facebook page, and what I mean by that is, let's say you've created a Facebook page for your facility and you haven't posted in 6 months. Me as a consumer, if I come there, I'm probably thinking that business is shut down. No activity in 6 months. Something's going on there. I would think the same too with reviews. If I'm not getting responded to immediately, I would definitely, especially if it's something negative, you want to be on top of these. And, with the negative reviews, I would definitely, you want to respond to them, like Alana said, take them offline, but I would at least apologize publicly and then ask to take it offline. Because when you apologize publicly, not only does it help that person feel better about the situation, potential future tenants that are looking at your reviews before they're making a decision to transact with you might see that and go, okay, not everyone's going to have a 5-star day, right? It's just not, it's impossible. But at least this ownership group or this management group is willing to cure it, and they're willing to recognize it publicly. you can correct anything that is, inaccurately mentioned if it's like fact-based, right? I would leave the emotions out of it, but if it's fact-based, I tried to come in at 9 a.m. and you were closed. No, in fact, we're open at 9 a.m., something like that, you could combat a little bit, but I wouldn't take it too far, anything like that, because, some people just like to argue online. Definitely highlight all of your strengths in the response that you give out there too, whether it's a positive or negative review. You can always take that opportunity to highlight those strengths and try to write like a human, not like a business. And then again, like I said, when it's necessary, take that conversation offline. Anybody have any negative reviews that they want to talk about that they've had to combat or kind of go on and try to get resolved?
I think just kind of like as a comment, or here's the line that I always worked because and Michelle commented on it too. Both her and I worked for Extra Space Storage. So we were what I call born and raised in the REITs. And one of our metrics or KPIs was how many reviews we got. We were required, as part of our job and as part of, when we were working for them as store managers and district managers to keep an eye on those reviews. And so one thing that I was trained, the managers and assistant managers, the key line that I always say, hey, hey Jessica, I want to thank you for moving in. How's everything going? Well, it's good, great, awesome. Yes, okay. You have any questions? No, okay, cool. Well, you know what? The best compliment that you can do for me is take 5 seconds or take 10 seconds and go online and do a Google review. Now, this is before all, the automatic text, everything else went out. So what we would do then is we would go in the software and then send them a direct link to the Google review, that Extra Space everybody else produced for us, the same amount. But that was the way that we got tons and tons of reviews, was just saying, hey, the best compliment you can do for me is take 5 seconds, because that lets other people know what we're doing here, the cost level, the customer service that we're providing and everything else like that. And to kind of transition to that too, we talked about a little bit reputation management, is to be able to take those reviews and be able to have them on your website. So not only is it on Google, Apple, wherever else that it may be, but some of those reviews, and if you can have your website so it transfers over them, so they're actual real reviews, and transfer that over just to show even more proof of concept,
Yeah, Alex, I don't know where you guys suggest this on the sites that you build for owners and operators, but we like to see sometimes like on a homepage or landing page, and you can even do it in a carousel format where you just have like this carousel of testimonials and reviews that are like scrolling as the people are like looking through the information. Alex, do you guys have a specific spot you tend to put that on?
So we have a few specific spots. If we look at like checking out at Target.com, Amazon.com, what can you do? You scroll down and see reviews. So during that final moment of checkout, we want that similar e-commerce experience to be a part of it. But beyond that, really, anywhere and everywhere, right? I mean, trust is such a huge factor for purchasing stupid things on the internet, right? Like I bought a nozzle for my pressure washer and I wouldn't check out because it had no reviews. Now we got to add that level of trust to people storing things while they're experiencing death, divorce, disaster, displacement. So I've not seen a level that you can hit where it's too much.
Yeah, and I mean, I would sprinkle it, like I said, we've used before where we've got like the carousel of testimonials, like out on our homepage. You could sprinkle this on every single page, I mean, yeah, it's a good page break on the website, I think too. Like, it's like information and then bam, here's a review of like something that correlates maybe to that information, how easy the move-in process is, how easy the online checkout and reservation and rental process is, how clean the facility is. All of those different highlights are definitely things that you want to have on there. And Anthony, thanks for bringing that up about putting it on the website. You can also put it on social media. I see a lot of people take their Google review, they go into a graphic design template thing like canva.com, and they create like a little graphic, and then they can go post that out on social media. Check out our recent 5-star review that we got from so and so. There's all kinds of ways to tie that content, and it's micro-clipped content that you can use for the future of your business and the health of your business.
I think kind of reverting back to what you were originally asking too is, the negative reviews and stuff like that. In a previous business that I had, was a photo booth business. I had actually 2 reviews, and there were negative reviews. There were 1-star reviews. And I went back in my client list and I never could find the person. It's the same thing that you can do. And my response to those reviews was, hey, so and so, I'm sorry that we did not provide the stellar service that the rest of our clients have experienced. Here's my, just like you said, here's our contact information. Please reach out to me and let me know how I can make this right.
Mhm.
A simple response to review like that, is, and then other people do look at it like, wait, do they just leave a bad review just to leave a bad review? Or is it your competition and stuff like that? And speaking on bad reviews, that's another good way to, if you're looking up your competition and seeing who's in the area, look at the reviews, see what they're doing right, copy them, see what they're doing wrong, do the opposite of them. Don't go out and say, hey, so and so down the street's got a bad review because their manager is not very friendly. But take that as, the learning lessons of, hey, we need to provide better customer service, or, they don't have this feature, but we do. You can kind of look back and forth on what would work for your facility.
Yeah, Alex just put a book in there. Thank you for that, Alex. I'm going to definitely check that out, because, this is what we're doing now at the Storage Business Owners Alliance is really different than obviously when we had our portfolio, right? But if we have a portfolio again, then we will definitely be obviously asking for reviews. I mean, we don't ask for a ton of reviews right now. We probably could on like our events and information that we do. Our tenant insurance division ended up turning their Google reviews off at one point. I'm working with them to turn them back on. And what was happening there was because our claims and adjusters were not able to always, pay out on certain claims. And then obviously you have a very ticked off tenant, and it wasn't necessarily related to our insurance program. It was just something that didn't fit within, there wasn't forced entry. So we couldn't prove that there was a burglary. We couldn't prove that, we actually owed them the claim on the stuff that they were trying to get back. So I would never recommend doing that. I've been asked a couple times too. Someone asked me this recently. They were like transitioning from ownerships groups, and they were asking, like, should they just start over? I wouldn't recommend that if you don't have to. But obviously, if you have to and you have to start from square one, like you have to start from square one. And if you're in any of those situations where you are taking over from, because there's a lot of acquisitions in this business, I would always try to do something big around, under new management, especially if previous management was poor, to really announce that, the facility is under new management and that you're looking to make, better decisions and do better by the tenants in the property.
Mhm. And I know that if you're acquiring an existing facility and you are, say, it does have good reviews, it's best just to go to Google and have the business name changed. So those Google reviews will remain there. That gives you a jump start on everything already. And just as Jessica was saying, if it has bad reviews, it is time possibly, then that's a decision that you want to rebrand, and if you have a brand name like Top Shelf or storage like James or or anybody else, yeah, to rebrand that and start all over.
Yeah, and like I said, we can give you some of the step-by-step processes on how to do the listings right, how to respond to the reviews, suggestions on, it's like obviously you don't want a blanketed message. And if that customer or that tenant gives you their name within the review, I would always address them back by their name to make it personalized. That adds another layer of just making it look like it's not artificial intelligence responding, that it's actually a human responding, even if the message is pretty similar, just changing out their name and obviously thanking them for that review would be a good start.
Can I ask a quick question? I'm not sure if I missed it. On that point, Jessica, I was looking at some reviews on a different property, and it almost, like you said, it didn't really say their name again, but almost every response was, hey, I understand you had a shitty time. Thanks for your business. We want to improve ourselves, blah, blah, blah. It was always a canned response. So I would guess that may look bad in the consumer's eyes. They're like, why would they going to respond to me any different, right? If I said the same thing to Jess and Alex and James, and it's the same canned response, are you guys or whoever's doing it doing a monitoring those, or is it through AI? Maybe I missed that. I'm sorry.
It's through AI, but the AI is sophisticated enough that it can change it.
Okay.
Which we love, right? And the AI will personalize it. But you know, obviously behind all AI is a human. So we always have that human touch too. We want to look at everything that's going on. And like I said, you're not getting, it just depends on the portfolio size too. I mean, if it's a massive portfolio, I mean, it can be very daunting and very time consuming and task oriented. But if you've got, you know, a couple locations, hire a dedicated marketing person or a dedicated person or even your manager to take, this takes minutes out of the day for them to go in there, check it, respond to it, and make it, you know, as personalized as they can. And you don't need to write novels. Like 2 to 3 sentences or 1 to 2 sentences is sufficient. And again, I wouldn't write a novel in response to a negative review because you want to get that offline as soon as possible. Give them your contact information, an email, a phone number, your name, and hope that they come back, you know, and call you. And then at that point, if you can cure from there, you can always ask for them to go back out and put a positive review out there for you if you do cure it for them. So at least help keep your numbers going in the upward motion versus down.
Yeah, and I say, you know, when you get a Google review, you get an email, you get a notification of it like immediately. So you can always go back and there's, you know, if you're in the middle of something, yeah, understand. But as soon as you can get that, you know, go and respond to that review. So
I would train your staff to treat it the same as a lead, right? You want them getting back to leads as quickly as possible. There's all types of workflow alerts probably set up for your leads coming into your CRM system. That same workflow I would definitely employ in the review process as well. The quicker you can respond to it, the better. Check the box, it doesn't get forgotten, and you've done that for the day. And it's pretty easy to manage on your own. If anyone wants a demo of our service that we're offering for reputation management, happy to do that with you. Just need to get in touch with me. My email and phone numbers in the contact information. It's a pretty simple service. We charge $100 a location a month for our reputation management service. So it's very affordable. And you know, if this is something that you don't want to do, or you don't want your staff doing, or you don't have the time to do, and you want a company to do it, you know, please reach out to me. I think for $100 a month per location, it's completely a feasible cost, and it's not that expensive.
awesome. One thing I also did see is, you know, if you are starting to collect Google reviews or, you know, send out emails requesting them, stuff like that, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I won't flood it to every single customer right away. I'll almost do like a drip campaign, because I've seen it where, you know, all of a sudden we like within 2 or 3 days, we've gotten, you know, like 10 reviews, and Google will flag it. And what they'll do is they'll start taking reviews down. So if you do go back and you see some, you know, like your customer said, hey, you know, or you ask a customer to put up a review, and they came back to said, hey, Anthony, I put up a review, you know, like you asked me to. And I said, well, great, I appreciate it. And I've gone back and I've checked over and over and over again. And we've gotten 5, 6 reviews within a day because we were doing a campaign. And some of them were removed, because Google thinks, well, hey, they're just going out there and buying Google reviews. So that's one thing kind of to watch out for. So if you do see that, that's where I will generally, it's up, you know, you can tell me differently too if you guys do anything different. But that's where I've seen it. If we try to flood it, it'll take them down.
Yeah, I mean, all these things have their tricky nuances, right? Again, I've not experienced that, and we've ran a pretty large portfolio, like I said, where we were getting several reviews per day per location. Um, and I want to grab that review while it's still fresh in that tenant's mind of what their experience was, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent.
Mhm.
I want the truth, because obviously, good helps enhance the morale of your employees that they're doing a good job. Bad leads to training opportunities. And I would always take that negative and spin it, yeah, while it sucks you're getting a negative review and maybe you've got the wrong person in the wrong seat, it is a training opportunity, or it's an opportunity for you to see a deficiency within your business and something that you may need to change. Obviously, if you keep getting reviews that the site's not clean, like get on your maintenance guy or get out there and do a site review and see what's going on, especially in the world of, remotely managed or unmanned properties, whatever terminology that you're using. You've got to have people going out there and making sure that obviously the facilities are still in good condition and looking good. And there's even a review process for that too, because when you're not dealing with an actual human and you're dealing with, a kiosk or online rental, what we suggest is you go through that process as a consumer yourself, see if there's any barriers, alleviate all of those barriers and make it very user friendly. Obviously, the user experience is going to be the most critical piece. And you're going to have some signs that would dictate and give that dictation towards people that they, now that they've completed the move-in process. And I think this is even a more critical piece. If you are remote or unmanned, you have to have some sort of SMS or email notification set up to send them that link to go out there and get that review.
Yeah, and one thing I say, for business listings and different things else like that, if you're, like a smaller owner operator, to go copy what the REITs do. If you go look at some of their business listings, so like if you have, one outside of Charlotte or wherever else, go look at where an Extra Space, a Cube Smart, public storage is around that area, and go look at what their business listing says. A lot of them will have, quite their products. They'll have, the business hours. They'll have their facility open hours. They'll have their questions and answer, Q&As, and they'll answer their own questions on there. What size up? Hey, do you offer non-climate? Yes, we offer non-climate. I mean, but that's just the thing. Emulate what they're doing, because obviously they've spent the marketing dollars and have a personnel to perfect that process.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing, back to the listings, please, please, please make sure your operating hours are accurate. This was a lot through COVID, I noticed, more than now. But obviously people were on restricted hours during COVID, and nothing would pain me more than I would go on my Google Maps, or I'd go on Google, okay, Petco's still open till 8 o'clock. Awesome. I'd pull up at 7:30 and they hadn't adjusted their hours online versus their actual storefront hours during this process. So if anything happens, if there's inclement weather and you need to get in there and put some sort of alert, or, if you're changing your hours, this is especially critical in facilities that are doing unmanned or remotely managed, where maybe they have condensed office hours. If you do have an office there where you've got a property manager on site Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 3 only, make sure that is identified in your business listings. You're going to have very ticked off customers and potential tenants that try to come there. And it says online that you're open, and sure enough, you're not open. So definitely the hours of operation are a very critical piece that I see that tend to be missed.
Awesome. I want to open. Anybody have any questions for Jess?
And like I said, if anyone wants to take a peek at our software and what we use, the cool thing too is if you have multiple facilities, it all rolls up into one dashboard. So what you can do as an owner operator, you can see how your different locations are ranking in the review process against one another. You can give logins to your upper management, your district managers, your regional managers, even your property managers, so they can see how they're ranking amongst other locations out there that, you own in your portfolio.
Awesome. Jessica, thank you very, very much for coming on today, taking your
Yeah.
time. I'm glad that you're back home, starting to feel a little bit better here.
I'm here.
Jessica's information is in the chat, and we're going to kind of give everybody one last chance. If you haven't had a chance to, and you'd like to put your contact information in the chat, please do that real quickly here. And then I will save the chat and post that as a link for in the Facebook Live here that we're doing currently. With that,
Looking up
we
local
go.
storage facility reviews right now.
I was hunting this, yeah, that's what I meant this morning. I was hunting for new acquisitions and stuff like that. And that's one of the things that I saw was they're not even listed on Google. It's listed under different services that we use to hunt for properties, stuff like that. But when you go cross-reference them, not even there.
Yeah. Seeing a lot on this one that are not even responded to. Scary.
Alrighty. Well, everybody, we got 24 people on here still. At the end of the day, we had about 30. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys coming on, especially our people who come on each and every single week and continue to grow our weekly Wednesday networking. Next week, we're going to have John on from Pinnacle Self-Storage. I'm super, super excited about that one as well. James, don't worry. I am going to start promoting that probably tomorrow evening. I usually typically wait till about the day after so people don't get too confused about what's coming up on our weekly Wednesday networking. So with that, everybody have a wonderful day, great week, and we'll see you next week.
Sweet. Thanks, Anthony. Thanks, Jessica.
Thanks, everybody.
Good.
Bye, folks.